So I ran into all those tech issues trying to get my Canva video exported. It was done, had to get it exported so I could put it up on YouTube. And I had picked out, so for those of you who follow me on Instagram or Blue Sky, I select a clip and I record it, and then I embed that into posts and put them up. So I had on Monday picked the clip. And because it wasn't until Friday, I was most of the way through the week. So I went back and watched the clip to record it, and I started laughing because the clip that I chose was basically saying, like, you're going to run into an obstacle this week. And you're going to be really frustrated about, like, well, this should be easy, or this was easier than I thought. And I'm sitting there like, wow, okay, so I guess I experienced reading number 2. So I was realizing everything that I had said in that message, I had lived that week. And I never watch back my weekend readings because I spend the time recording and editing them, and then I kind of forget all about them. So I was then forced to rewatch it. And I was like, oh, wow, that was spot on. That is what happened in my week. Because the whole thing with reading number 2 was like, a win is a win. So I had to keep telling myself, because I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. And so it's like, okay, well, I got it up on the platform. I got it up before the week was over. A win is a win. I have to take the win that I was able to resolve the problem. I identified the problem before the tech team, and that I did get it up on the platform before today. So I was like, wow, I really did live reading number 2. So sometimes we don't know right away. And it takes getting some days into the week to really figure it out. But yeah, that made me laugh. We will be using the Moonchild Tarot Deck. I'm not nervous. You are. Just kidding. I haven't been quizzing myself as much as I wanted because June was just so crazy. I did go through all the cards one day, and I was like, oh, I actually like genuinely know half the deck. And then others, I was like iffy on it. It was like a quarter where I was like, I might know this. I have to check. Others, I was like, I've never pulled this. I have no idea what this card is. So we'll see what I get. I've already pulled my 2 cards. I have my guidebook in case I need it. So to start us off, as usual, I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to connect to your intuition. So you can tune in to each of the cards. So this is for reading number 1. And see, does one or the other stand out to you? Do you feel that you're going to need especially to hear the messages of one over the other? This is number 2. You can throw a 1 or a 2 in the chat. You could say both. You could also share how the information came through. So in addition to my monthly psychic development classes, this is a great opportunity every single week to just kind of practice tuning in a very small, low stakes way. Reading number 1. And 2. And I'll do it one more time. Number 1. Number 2. So we have a split here, 1s, 2s, and both. So we don't have like a strong camp. That's very interesting. Different places in my body, yeah. Clairsentience. I was seeing a water slide, but then I was getting the term slip and slide. Fast moving, momentum. Speeding into something and you're laughing or you're screaming or you're crying, depending on if you're afraid of heights, depending on if it's too fast. So it's like some people will enjoy it more than others. It just depends on if you like these big slides. That's really funny. So it's like a mixed bag because some people are gonna be like, oh, it's so great, it's so nostalgic, I love doing that. And other people just it will feel too fast. And it's like, oh my gosh, no, or it's too high. Like the slide is too high. I don't know about this. So but we're going down we're going down this slide whether or not we are actually enjoying it. That's how it's going to come across. The hope is that you do, but there will be some people that might not enjoy the ride down, but everybody lands on their own 2 feet. Everybody lands safely at the bottom. It's just how you experience this slide. Feels like it's the entire week. So when do we get on the slide? In the next 2 days. The earliest that people could be landing safely at the bottom I got was Sunday. So if not, then it carries you right into Monday. But if you're on the much, much earlier side, then you could have a little wiggle room at the end where you can process your experience more. Otherwise, the processing is happening next week. So the card is Queen of Pentacles, which when we're talking about queens or kings of pentacles, we're really hitting at abundance. And for the Queen of Pentacles as well, we're capturing a bit of that, Mother Earth energy. So there is a deep connection to nature. So I do think it is interesting that we were outside in this scenario. We were like out at a park. We're experiencing and connecting. It kind of how it's coming through is like when we talk about Mother Nature, it's just this thing, or, we're personifying it, this thing, this person being outside of us, like, oh, Mother Nature is angry. So it's like we can be at the wills of Mother Nature. And it seems like that's how this situation feels for us. Like we have to go down this slide, even though we don't want to. It's a circumstance of a thing that we are experiencing. On the abundance mindset, I think it's super interesting because of the fact that some people are really happy that they're going down this slide. And I also do want to clarify, we're going down the slide, but it doesn't mean that we're not like ascending or we're not growing. Like typically you would think, oh, we're going upstairs or we're climbing up something that signals its growth. Well, if we're going down a slide, then we're dropping. Not necessarily, because it's more about the short burst of a speedy experience. And because we have the opportunity to go up again, it's not that it's like a fast decline at all. And it's pushing people out of their comfort zone. So it's a little bit more of that vibe because there's heights, because there's speed, rather than it being, oh, we're dropping, like there's some horrible decline or something that's happening. We're losing something, like as an opposite of abundance. That is not how it has come through. I just want to clarify because I know with the visual, and I keep saying, oh, we're going down, but it's not that there's a decline, but it's either something that you have been investing in for some period of time, or it almost feels like it is coming out of the blue and you're like, oh, wow, I just am receiving this thing. What just came in is the slide is the thing that you're receiving. And that's why this is so interesting, because for some people, they're like, but I didn't like that. I didn't want to receive that. But there was a lesson in it. So if you decided, okay, that slide was way too high, it moved way too fast, you could decide to go to a different slide, or you could decide to leave the park entirely. So we all have the free will and choice in the response to what we're receiving. So there is an energy for some people of sometimes we think we know what we want, and then we get it and we realize, oh no, that isn't for me. So it seems that some people are going to learn a little bit of that lesson. And that's where it comes to well, I want to go on the slide. I want things to get moving. I'm tired of being stuck. But then if something moves too fast or because of the incline, it's too steep. It's too high. Like it feels scary. Then we could have buyer's remorse or but the lesson is not, there's going to be some people who may want to dial down what they're aspiring to receive, but the lesson is not that we should ask for less. It's that we should understand what we want to receive more. So we say, okay, that was something. Maybe I loved it. I do want more of that. Or maybe I want something that's kind of similar, but not that. It gave us the information to recalibrate what it is that we want to call in. That's really the energy of this week. So we're receiving this experience. We may or may not like it, but we use it to make that choice. Do we want more of that? Do we want something different? Do we want to go down a whole other road, aka we're leaving the park? We're like, I'm out. I definitely don't want anything remotely like that ever again. Buckling again? The response was, yeah, but there's more buckles this time. Turbo speed. Why are we going so fast? Because because I feel like it. It's like that kind of a vibe. Okay, I want to make sure that I can tease out the fundamental differences between the first reading and the second reading. Because if our focus on the first reading was about abundance and we're really going, you know, it's a short stint. So is this one fast and also just short and contained to the week? This one feels even shorter. Okay. So this feels locked in around maximum of super turbo speed at 5 days. So how it is looking is we're going so fast forward that we end up skipping steps. So I'm seeing us in, it almost feels like it, the closest comparison I have is in an amusement park where they have those like super fast rides, or so it kind of looks like that. So you almost can't turn because it's so quick. You're kind of just like locked into the seat in more ways than just being buckled in. But we have an awareness that things are passing us, or that we are passing. We are passing. And maybe things that we normally would have done or people that we would have talked to or something. So there's almost an assessment while we're doing this of, should I be going this fast? Like, is it a problem that I skipped or missed those steps? Or am I just being rocketed ahead and I won't need them? And that just feels like it's an ongoing debate. I will say, as I'm talking about this, something that's coming to mind is, if this is carrying over and into future weeks in July, then I mentioned at the top of today's class that July has a lot of retrogrades. And those are periods of looking back and checking to be like, okay, did I do that correctly the best way the first time, or do I have to redo it? So it kind of feels like it's setting us up for that a bit, because we're going really quickly. We're aware that maybe we've skipped steps and maybe that will stick. And also maybe it won't. And we are going to have to back up. It's coming across like, take a little golf cart back, go to the booths or the little places that we just need to do like those one-off things, and then we can return to where the end of the ride is. So it doesn't mean we need to redo everything, but there could be a couple spots where, yeah, it felt nice that we jumped many, many steps ahead and we made really significant progress, but there's a couple fundamentals that we'll need to correct later. So not this week, but at some point during July, we'll have to go back. Seven of Pentacles. See if memory serves. I'll have to check my book, but I feel like I know. Really, in general, with any cards that are a 7, they're reflection cards, which is kind of perfect with what I was saying about this reading, that we're going to recognize, oh, wait, I think I maybe skipped some steps, and that later we will have to go back. So that is capturing the 7 piece. And when we have the pentacles again, it's about our progress. It's the things that we're receiving. It's what we're earning. It's what we're accomplishing. So I'm just going to do the old quick check, make sure there's nothing else anything else to enhance this beyond what my recollection of this card is. I relish and treasure the gifts each day. Yeah, both of these are, like I said, not all of the pentacle cards are just saying, oh, you're gaining something. But for both of these, we are making gains. Some people could think about this as relates to money. Other people can think about this as relates to their energy, their offerings, what they're putting out there, their efforts. Reading number 1. We had our big slide. We're climbing to the top within the next 2 days. We are flying down the slide, and some of us are really enjoying it, and some of us are not. So it came through as we're laughing, we're screaming, we're crying. So depending on how that speed is for you, how that height is for you, the acceleration is for you, you may or may not actually enjoy this trip down the slide. And at the earliest Sunday, depending on how quickly you get up there, if not by Monday and by our end of the week, you have an opportunity late this week or during next week to assess how you really felt about it and determine what you want next. Do you want to go up on the slide? Do you want to go on a smaller slide, a bigger slide with swirls in it? Do you want to entirely leave this park and not go on those slides ever again? The card we had was the Queen of Pentacles. This is about that abundance mindset. It's about receiving. So we have been investing. We have been calling in opportunities. And this slide is our opportunity. And as I mentioned, some of us, once we receive it, are going to love it and be like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, or this is even better. And for other people, we're going to have a little buyer's remorse and say, okay, no, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't want this. Or this was mildly unpleasant. I would prefer not to do this exact thing again, but I want to make adjustments. So we are left either at the end of this week or going into next week with deciding, how do we want to fine tune what we are calling in now that we've had this experience? So this is a short-lived experience where we are receiving and then seeing where we want to take that next. So both of these card readings had a bit of a ... feeling to them. Reading number 2, we were buckling up. And in fact, we put extra buckles on because we are going turbo speed, shooting straight ahead. We are, in fact, skipping a lot of steps because we're moving so quickly. We're making progress, which is awesome. It's like, oh, finally, I felt like I've been stuck for a long time. I am rocketing ahead. This is amazing. But as we're moving, we are recognizing, hold on, I think I'm probably skipping some steps, some milestones, some things on my checklist that are important. And this turbo speed ride lasts around 5 days. So either before the week's out or at some point in July, we end up needing to get back. It came in as a golf cart. We get back into a little golf cart and we have to double back on those steps that we skipped, ride up to them, tackle whatever it is, that little task, that paperwork, that conversation, and resolve the 1, the 2, the 3, however many there were. And then we can get back to where the ride had ended. So we still net made progress, but we have to go back and make a few corrections. either later this week or at really any point in July. That was how it came through. And for the second reading, we had 7 of Pentacles, which is a card of reflection. We're reflecting on our progress, what we have earned. So we're putting the effort in. We're saying, what am I missing? Like, do I need more? What do I need to fix? What do I need to adjust? When we're talking about the subject matter, this could be money related. It could be things that you've earned or your assets or things that you own. And it can also be about your effort. So things that you have invested, like investing your time, investing your effort, are you getting the return on it? And also looking at the return that you have received. Well, could it be more if you went and you fixed those steps? Like, could it expand more? Could you keep going? Both of them are pentacles. So we're picking up on earth energy. Pentacles can relate to money, resources, again, effort, time that you put in, or earth and nature in general. I had mentioned this for the first card that I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting because I was picturing people at a park. So they are outside, so they are in nature. The 7 is fully like, what have I missed? What else do I need to do so that I can figure out my next steps when I move into that? Like what I'm going to need to correct about how this has gone. And the Queen of Pentacles is more about you're just in the receiving state. You're in the state of abundance, and you then have the opportunity to fine tune that afterwards. Because of course, after the Queen, we have the King. So there's still another step that we could go. We're there, but we might decide, just kidding. I actually don't want this. I'm going to go back to the ace. I'm going to plant a seed for something different than this. We do have that choice if we want to restart. Can we do these at the same time? It's coming in as yes and no because it's a lot of heavy lifting. Because it's a lot. So for our first reading, we're sliding down this slide, and the second reading we're on a little turbo thing. So yeah, it feels like these are a lot. They're both carrying some sort of a momentum, like things are moving again. The second reading, things are absolutely flying, and we have more of the check afterwards of we know we went too fast, but it still was a net positive. And for this one, it might not have been too fast for us. It might have been perfect. It might have been great. It might have been speed could have been fine, but we want to make some sort of an adjustment. There's something about the pacing for both, but the actual speed intensity is much higher and stronger for the second reading than the first one. And it's not that this ride, the turbo speed ride, was unpleasant. That could be the case for the first card, depending on your taste and whether you're ready or not. For the second one, it's just, oh, shoot, I missed some things. And I got to go back and fix those. So this doesn't have any sort of a charge. It feels like it's a net positive. Oh, this is great. I'm glad this happened, even if I have to double back and fix a few things. How you approach that is up to you. And this one is less intense, but we just might not like it, or we might love it. So there's more variability in how we experience it. Could you be going down a fast slide and going on a turbo ride at the same time? It comes through. It's just like at your own risk. It feels like if you were, these would be different areas. And it feels like it would be really, really overwhelming. Like if you had this experience pop up in the next 2 days, and maybe if you're someone who was enjoying it and you're like, oh, this is great. And then simultaneously you happen to have some sort of a fast track experience, it just feels like you're going to be gassed by the end of the week. And that's probably why you won't go back to correct anything until later in the month because it was a lot, especially if you did both. So it comes across like it takes a certain kind of person to do both of these at the same time. So maybe that is you. Likely it is not you. It's like 90% of people, there is absolutely no way they would ever consider doing both. And the 10%, maybe they make an attempt. Maybe they do it successfully, or maybe they bow out because it's not working. So it feels to me like the only place you can bow out is in the first reading. Like you could kind of get off the slide, or you could slow yourself down on it to try to get off. But you can't get off of this because it is flying and you are buckled in. So the flexibility, if you will, resides in this one. And because you have an opportunity to start thinking about how it went and how you want to adjust. Where this one, like you're going. You're going, and then you're probably tired by the end of it. Neither of these, the experiences are complete this week, but then we're going to be left with something else we have to do after. We either have to decide, do we want to do this again? Do we want something totally different? Or we have to decide, okay, what are the things I have to go back and fix because I know that I have to correct the record? And maybe we're figuring out some of the game plan for that. So we're left with, yes, and something else, which trickles into next week, into the entire month of July. So there's just like this little footnote below both of these readings, like there's a fine print of, but there's more. And we can only handle so much this week, as great as it is to receive and to make significant progress. There are limits to that, which is why we have them both capped. And then later we can adjust or redirect ourselves, our energies, go back and fix things, talk to who we need to talk to, etc.